year 2024. And yes, it's another beautiful day for you to set your goals, straight, and for you to pursue it. That's actually desire us to do. Remember that activities of every minute, every second that counts for our lifespan. So put it to good use.
Well, perhaps a very good place to get you energized for the start of today. And we're also going to bring you up to speed with some of the issues across Nigeria by taking a look at the dailies. But hey, don't you forget, today is International Youth Day. And a lot of conversation will also be on the strength of Nigerian youth. But we'll leave that until the other part of the program this morning. Let's take a ride into what the dailies have for us this morning. Let's begin from the Vanguard newspaper for today, 12th August 2024. End blame game. Alt bad policies. Labour. Obi Lukman tell Tinubu. That's on page 26 of the Vanguard newspaper, but it is making the front page of the Daily this morning. Labour alleges harassment, intimidation of members by government, says invasion of Labour House, deliberate attempts at what? At provocation. You also find this one, condemns plans to frame up innocent citizens on trumped up charges. Protests call for leadership action against growing poverty. That's according to Obi. So it's protest call for leadership action against growing poverty. You also find this one, hunger protest, enough ground to impeach Tinubu governors. That's coming from Lukman. Which Lukman is this? You check the Vanguard newspaper to get more insight as to what they are saying, talking about the personalities that have made it to the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. You also find more in the front page of the Vanguard this morning. Monkeypox. FG directs travelers to Nigeria to fill health declaration form. You also find that also this morning in the Vanguard newspaper for today. Senate to Obasanjo, your claims that we fix our salaries, allowances uncharitable. Yes, that's one conversation attracting a lot of attention. Former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, coming out to say recently the state of the nation, and of course particularly spotlighting the National Assembly and the monies that they get. Well, the Senate is reacting. So you check the reaction of the Senate to that. But here, finally, you find in the front page of the Vanguard newspaper something to really think about. And that's on the back of the conclusion of the Olympics in Paris. Nigeria's poorest Olympics outing. Nigeria's poorest Olympics outing. You find the star girl, that's Tobiloba Mushan, just perhaps thinking of what has come of performance and the performance of the country right there, putting her hands on her head. You also find show of shame, 9 billion naira wasted, 88 athletes, no medal. You also find the picture of some of the athletes in the front page of the Vanguard. That's also one area. The Minister of Sports has come out to apologize to Nigerians, but beyond the apology, what more will be done to perhaps change these poorest Olympics outing in the future? 10 die in Abia truck accident, 25 missing in Sokoto boat mishap. That's it from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Check more.
Alright, just before I go to the Daily Independent this morning, just a few comments on the Olympics, Actually, everybody, all eyes was on Toby Amson. It was as if she was our last hope of winning the medal, and eventually it turned out not to be. And the Minister of Sports was saying they didn't prepare on time. I wonder, is he not supposed to know that it's part of his responsibilities to make sure that athletes are prepared for, or you know, the Olympics is not something that is fixed arbitrarily. You have a lot of years to prepare for it. It's slated, it has a time frame. So coming to say we are here prepared for it, it's a no-no. And yesterday I read about one ex-athlete, national athlete, who said, see, Nigeria would not help the athletes to prepare. The sportsmen doesn't help them to prepare for these international and even national outings. The only time you see Nigeria come on board is when they've won, and they are there to, you know, share in the victory.
So perhaps beyond waiting for that trophy at every tournament, it's about time Nigerians also start spotlighting the states of athletes, the state of infrastructure, the state of the welfare, even beyond or before tournament.
Yes, so starting from the
everybody has a role to play eventually. Well, if you want medals,
you prepare for it. All right, to the Daily Independence this morning, we've got this: 22 commercial airlines close shop in Nigeria in 24 years. Stakeholders say present reality may not support existing 12, meaning some of the 12 currently running may also have to close shop. Blame federal government policies on high mortality rate of domestic airlines. List how government can help sustain commercial airline operations. All right, details of this you find on the Daily Independent this morning. And we have this one: Senate replies Obasanjo says National Assembly does not fix lawmakers' salaries. We find details of that on page 29. Quite a lot of controversies over what the National Assembly, you know, the representatives, the senators actually earn, and the conversation continues. All right, check page 29 of the Daily Independent for details of that story. Local government autonomy. FG creating another bureaucracy that will be prone to corruption, says PDP. You find details of that on page 7 of the Daily Independent, but right up to the story says, ask Edo APC Guba candidates to present self for public debate. And on let's not talk about the public debate, please. Okay, and you have this one on page 7. 2027, Atiku Obi Kwankwaso urged to form new party to rescue Nigeria. And on page 6, end bad governance. Obi mourns demonstrators, security officers killed during the protest. It was a needless death. There you find details on page 6 of the Daily Independent. And still on the front page of the Daily Independent, recapitalization. 4 banks in dilemma over losing brand identity. Right, and we have this one. Sarah asks Tinubu to probe spending of $1.5 billion World Bank loan by 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. And that will be all from the Daily Independent.
All right, from the Daily Independent newspaper, let's check the Guardian. The Guardian for today, Monday, August 12, 2024, is leading with a lot of things. The front page of the Guardian is quite loaded this morning. You find Mr. President perhaps at work, signing or setting pen to paper. And here is it. Electricity tariff may spike over weak fiscal position. 2.1 trillion naira subsidy. Find writers that concerns as NERC removes FG from commercial model and forces bilateral market. You also find illiquidity worsens 4 years after CBN set up escrow account. Power plants may shut down as poor remittances threaten 6,000 megawatt target. You'll find more in that story, a breakdown of what is obtainable at this time. Outstanding debt before Tinubu's government stood at 3.3 trillion naira. You have Power sector debt to banks stand at $1.9 billion. You also find subsidy in 2024, 2.1 trillion naira on metered customers. This is where the real deal is, they say. 7.3 million on metered customers. You also find current cost, reflective tariff, find average electricity generation, and a lot more in the electricity sector in Nigeria. And of course, the fear now that tariffs may spike. Away from that, still in the Guardian newspaper, the Nigerian Labour Congress is also here. NLC demands apology from federal government. Police over raid on headquarters. You also see here, protest. Police arrest 99 suspects for murder, vandalism in Borno. Bandits kill soldiers, invade villages, displace households in Sokoto. That's on page 30. And the battle continues in the fight against insecurity in Nigeria. National Assembly pushes back on pay storm as Obi others flay cost of governance. That's on page 6 of The Guardian. You also find here, police press cultism, cybercrime charges against protesters of Doguba candidates. That's on page 7 of The Guardian. You also find more in the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Here is somewhat of a revelation. How Tinubu hurriedly terminated CBN's special investigation. That's on page 15. Finance and Economy, page 15 of the Guardian newspaper. How Tinubu hurriedly terminated CBN's special investigation. Perhaps a can of worm has been opened up in that sector, and the president said, oh man, you've done enough. But you want to find out really what that headline is talking about, you check the Guardian newspaper, particularly at this time where we're talking about the policies and the state of the economy in Nigeria. How much money is even in circulation? How much can we even account for? What are some of the steps we need to take to change course, or perhaps ensure that our economy gains more strength? We check the Guardian newspaper for that story. That's it from the Guardian this morning.
From the Guardian, let's check the Daily Times. The Daily Times this morning has this. Allegations of self-determined salaries force attempt to crucify legislature. That's according to the Senate. No senator receives monetary patronage from presidency. Adara Modu says. Reps reply Obasanjo say 10th Assembly driven by patriotism. And this is of that you'll find on page 2 of the Daily Times this morning. So on the Daily Times, FRSC vital to Nigeria's security architecture, according to the Interior Minister. Protest. Federal government establishes feedback mechanism with Nigerians. And that is on page 5 of the Daily Times this morning. Sarah to Tinubu, probe $1.5 billion World Bank loan to states, and says 3 billion Naira Chinese loan. Sarah, that is the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project. Sarah has called on President Bola Tinubu to direct the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, and appropriate anti-corruption agencies to promptly and thoroughly investigate the spending of the World Bank loan. Alright, details of that is on the front page of the Daily Times this morning, and on to some of the inner pages there. And you have this one, NAF airstrikes hit 13 illegal refinery sites in Niger Delta. You find details on page 2 of the Daily Times this morning. And still on the Daily Times, NLC demands immediate government action after invasion of headquarters, says police must apologize for action. The other time we had NLC, accusing the military, now it's the police. Well, there must be some people to be held responsible for that, and there's actually a necessity for apologies to be tendered. You find details of that on the front page of the Daily Times this morning. Naira outside banks hits record high of 93.6%, reaching 4.04 trillion naira, says CBN. This is all that is on page 14 of the Daily Times this morning. And that will be all from the Daily Times.
From the Daily Times newspaper, the New Telegraph newspaper this morning, quickly, the front page of the New Telegraph newspaper, stop harassing people with opposing ideologies. NLC tells FG, rejects police explanation on raid, demands apology, National Mourning Day for lives lost during protest. And talking about rejecting the police explanation, the police has also came out to offer explanation on that particular operation conducted, saying it had acted on credible intelligence. And of course, it's part of its effort to ensure that some criminals are brought to book. And that intelligence led to that particular facility in the nation's capital. You also find more in the New Telegraph newspaper. Monkeypox. Passengers from London will submit health declaration forms. That's according to NCDC. You also find harsh regulations fueling volatilities. Exodus of firms. That's according to OPS. Ease of doing business. Nigerian economy can only grow from states. Mba, as German government investors target agri energy of opportunities in Enugu. You also find there, JAPA, 20 UK universities face financial pressure over unstable naira, as some British universities rely on Nigerian students to pick up admissions, enroll for courses. Upsurge forces tuition fees to £11,000 at the minimum. Do the conversion. What does that translate to naira? Study links increasing sugar sweetened beverages intake to future health risk. You find that also in the New Telegraph newspaper. Outside Nigeria, President Maduro backs Nigerians' interest in Venezuela's gas field. You find that story also in the New Telegraph. Adeboye links corruption in Nigeria with Christians compromising standards. That's on page 30. That's the is it the General Overseer now? The Redeemed Christian Church of God. Adeboye linking corruption in Nigeria with the fact that some individuals compromising standards. Now, this time around, speaking to his congregation, speaking to Christians, and perhaps if everybody even, in a way, do their own parts, there will be no corruption really. Because if somebody is trying to perpetrate that act, if there's someone who is blocking it and all of that, definitely we can make our society better. That's it from the New Telegraph newspaper for this morning.
Alright, from the New Telegraph, let's check the Nigerian Tribune. On the Nigerian Tribune, new constitution, demand for 2014 comfort report resurfaces. You find details of that on page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning as Afenifere and others dissect the Patriots' proposals. And you also have this one. Seaport charges scarring importers from $1.5 billion Lagos Ibadan cargo rail. That's according to NRC. Ensure full implementation of import duty waivers on drugs, says Neman, as tells Tinubu. Find details of that on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Poor allocation of resources further killing nation's education sector, says ASU. Find details of that on page 24 of the Nigerian Tribune and among other stories. I will take the sports story.
Well, let's go the sporting way. The Punch Sport Extra is here for us this morning, and for all of the beauties you find in the front page of the Punch Sport Extra. It's bye-bye to Paris 2024. Au revoir, Paris. That's the caption. You find Nigerian athletes beautifully and colorfully dressed right there in the front page of the Punch Sport Extra. But hey, there's also more in that in the process of saying bye-bye to Paris 2024. Preparation for Los Angeles 2026 starts now. Shall you want to take that out of my mouth?
I like that. I like that because maybe that should be a reminder to the Minister of Sports. Well, it might not be there again, of course. Definitely by the year.
Of course, that's about structure. That's about the institutions that are having the process, regardless of who is in charge. Let's get that preparation started now, like yesterday. Even though some of the athletes will still be celebrating, and for Nigerian athletes, going back to their trainings, I believe. All right, that's it. You also have a glimmer of, would I say hope? Yes, it's also for hope, and of course, something to celebrate for Nigeria at the end of the day. Wakama named Olympics best coach, and that's the coach of the D Tigress. That's the female basketball team for Nigeria at the Olympics. They tried, of course, they just couldn't get that medal in the Olympics, but yes, the woman who led the charge, talking about the coach, also named Olympics best coach. That's for basketball.
That was the first exposure, to the Olympics. So.
And of course, it did so well. So how do we get to build on this, not just for Wakama, for other coaches, for other athletes? That's a thing the Minister of Sports should look into, beyond apologizing to Nigerians. You also find here, the man who's been in the mix of conversation for a long time. Chelsea boasts as Osrc asks to leave Napoli. To find another Nigerian international, Iheanacho debuts in Sevilla loss. You also find more cherry news for Chelsea fans. Chelsea signed £54 million netto from Wolves. But hey, there's also more to prepare for in the world of sports in the days ahead. Glasgow to host 2026 Commonwealth Games. You check that story also in the Punch Sport Extra. So it's about getting started. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. So they say, the PPPs. It's time to take a break on the program this morning. We'll be back with our discussion segment. Please stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Let me assure you, our mothers, that our administration is not relenting in its efforts at making life better for our people in the state. We shall continue to pursue programs and policies to relieve parents of the burden of parenthood towards our children. This year, the state government had paid West African Examination Council fees for our children in public secondary schools. We have plans for bursary and scholarships, the details of which are being worked out. The state government has set up Agriculture and Food Security Committee that is doing a good job. Our commitment to ensuring that no family goes to bed hungry in Ondo State is total.
Thank you so much for rejoining us. It's still AM today on Osrc television. Today is International Youth Day, observed August 12 every year. And the United Nations declared in 1999 that August 12 will be the annual International Youth Day. That's based on the suggestion from the UN General Assembly. Of course, this is also perhaps a testament to the critical roles the youth will also have to play in the scheme of things across the world. This year's theme focuses on from cliques to progress, youth digital pathways for sustainable development. So you understand that youths have a critical role to play for sustainable development. This morning we're being joined on the program by the APC Youth Leader Southwest, that's Mr. Kolade Lawal, and our focus will be in the 2024 Youth Day and, of course, the Nigerian youths. Mr. Lawal Kolade, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Good morning, moderator.
Safe to say Happy Youth Day to you, right?
Thank you.
What comes to mind, particularly at this time in Nigeria, that the 2024 Youth Day is on the back of a period where Nigerian youths also came out to perhaps make demands of government about the states of the nation. But perhaps, I put it differently, how would you rate the Nigerian youth at this time in the state of the nation when you put all of whatever is happening in Nigeria together?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Nigeria youth in its strength an ability to do things that are well due. Nigerian youth have invested so much in our national building, from employment creation, joining end for national building. And over the years, from the days of our forefathers, the Lawolowo of this world, NRO of this world, even Buwan of this world, even the military president, the person of Ibrahim Badanosu Babangida, you can see that the development they put in place was their youthful years. And we can still see those things as we speak. But as the youth, as the young people, we have been confronted with a whole lot of challenges, because from the recent happenings, you can see that we youth have been clamoring for inclusion in governance at various levels. But kudos our government don't do the person of His Excellency Lucky decided as well. You can see that he has several younger people with a better position across board. And today is a remembrance and a call to service of our young people that find themselves in one agency or the other, in a position of authority, to give in their best, so that people can see that Nigerian youth are not just young people, but they are young people with a difference. They are young people that are trying as much as possible to put things in proper direction.
Okay, Nigerian youth are trying their possible best to put things in the proper direction, but looking at they just ended end back governance process. We had most of the driving force, came from the youth. What do you think the youth actually want from the Nigerian government?
Yes. The younger, you can see that not have been that there is a kind of economic quagmire in the country. And the president has said it over some time. And the problem is not emanate from now. It is, in the previous year challenge, economic challenge, and just manifest now. Well, that process, to a certain extent, is a call to remember, to remind our leaders that the younger people are the ones that are being challenged by the economic situation. And our leaders, the president, our governors across board, our elected officers and our appointed officers, they have agreed that it's a temporary challenge that will face out in no distant time. That last week with the vice president of the country, in person of His Excellency Kashi Chetma, and he discussed the whole lot, ranging from youth empowerment, youth programs that will push us out from this economic situation. And they are not resting on the hours in making sure that our youth, that Nigerian youth are prosperous, that Nigerian youth are reliable, that Nigerian youth can compete separately with their colleagues, their contemporaries from all parts of the world. So it's that protest, yes, as much as some of us felt that there are ways that we can express our displeasures to our leaders to see the situation that is at hand. I think going physical protest or destruction is not a way out. And we have, over the years, we have been advocating and agitating that, yes, there are ways to handle rather than, go out to protest.
Of course, you are in a position that you refer to as a youth leader, but I believe and imagine that before you even got to that position, you were also at a point in time, perhaps at the lower rung of the ladder, from progressing to just being an ordinary youth to being a youth leader. From your submission, you mentioned your meeting with the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria recently, but time and again, what we hear is youth empowerment. For you who's been at that level before, and of course, currently, by the virtue of the position you had, the vantage position you had this time and the growth over the years, what have you been able to say, identify as a major problem that we need to really tackle? Yes, we hear empowerment, but really, empowerment in what sense?
Yes, it is not about, it is when you are saying youth empowerment, it's on various categories. What our agitation is that there should be constant electricity, that there should be a conducive environment for these young people to try. There should be inclusion at every level and facet of governance. You can see our young people, Nigerian young people they are hard-working individuals. They are various facets of of life. They are doing very well. From ICT, education, health, and what have you. And so Nigerian youth are reference point to every set individual that are doing well in various fields. Go and look at them. I think from 60% of those young people, if you look at it politically, for 40% are black people, and go and look at their origin. Some of them are, they are from most of them are from this country. So I think our young public government, and part of our education, what we met with the vice president, is that they should give a conducive environment for business to flourish. They should give our younger people inclusion, a sense of belonging in governance, a sense of belonging in position of authority and responsibility, whereby they can display their capacity, we can display the education and the exposure they have gotten over the time. And the vice president in his magnanimity has promised us that they are going to look politically into that and make sure that they partner with the young people of this country to take them there to a better height.
Okay, taking clue from some youth that have been engaged, in leadership position in the country, would you say the Nigerian youth is actually prepared, to lead, or they still need time to learn the ropes? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, I said taking clue. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, we're here. We're still together.
All right, we'll try to reestablish connection with Mr. Lawal Kolade, who's the Southwest Youth Leader of the All Progressives Congress, and of course the conversation has been on the International Youth Day. What exactly, where exactly do the Nigerian people, the Nigerian youth, where do they belong at this time? And yes, we're now rejoined with Mr. Lawal Kolade on the program. Yes, you were about answering the question posed by Shade earlier. Did you get it?
Okay, Mr. Kolade, I said taking clue from Nigerian youth that have been engaged in some leadership positions in the past. Would you say the Nigerian youth are well prepared, to handle further leadership position, or they still need time to learn the ropes?
Sincerely speaking, you can see, I have been saying, essentiality beginner to look at the immediate past governor of Ondo State, in person of late His Excellency, Governor Warutimi Akeredolu. He saddled younger people with strategic positions in the government, and that is why you can see what those younger people, what they did, fantastic job that they did across sector, from IGR, ICT, infrastructure, and what have you. And this present governor has taken a cue from that. He's working day and night to make sure that young people, that his administration brings out the best in our young people, that by saddling them with strategic responsibility. And as a party, administrator, we have been following up our young people in different positions. We have been telling them, we have been sitting down with them and giving opportunity to make sure that they did not delay. And fast forward, you can see across board. Yes, we are not there where we are supposed to be, but we are not where we used to be. So in view of this, our young people across all sectors, they are doing well. We are proud of them, and we are advocating for more. And even our elderly people, our leaders, fathers and mothers, and yes, they have seen what we have been able to do. And they think that if we are saddled with better position of authority, better responsibility, that we are going to deliver on whatever mandate that has been given to us.
All right, apart from leadership position, and one other thing that I believe is also a concern for the youth of today is the economic situation of the country. What roles can the youth play really in making sure that the economy is revived, especially looking at the new forms of economy, talking about the e-commerce and things like that?
Yes, you can. As I've said earlier on, our young people, we are well exposed, we are vast in ICT and what have you. So our young people, we are ahead of every situation. We know appropriate solution to whatever economic that Nigeria government is going through. And what we just need to do, and the Vice President has agreed as an Indian young people, we have solutions to these challenges, and we have been engaging our various governments at every level, the local government, state government, even of national assembly and the legislature, to see how we can put heads together to come out of our present economic situation. And I thought it is not about government, it is not about leadership alone. It is not about governance alone, who is leaders in governance alone. It's even our religious leaders, community leaders, we want to chart them to make sure that at every level, partner with these young people, we can see, even in terms of security, you can see the wonder things that these young people are doing by securing our communities with electronic gadgets and what have you. So, and it's those things that bring the results. And there's one thing on those things. We are dealing with me that insecurity was the other of it. But as we speak now, yes, not that it has been arrested 100%, but to the same extent, everybody can sleep with their 2 eyes closed in their various houses. Courtesy of, telling our young Nigerian police and other security agencies. So these young people are, but we don't want to call them the miracle worker, but they, I think, to the same extent, we have gotten a way out of our present situation. All the leaders, all what our leaders need to do is to partner with these young people so that we can get the maximum results.
All right, Mr. Lawakolade, when you talk about the partnership, I believe, I also imagine that your political party, the APC, also part of the intention why it has zonal youth leader for each state of each chapter of the political party is to really drive that inclusion to the lowest level. And that brings me to the question. You're the youth leader of the APC in the Southwest, the ruling political party in Nigeria. When you put all of the conversation around what this government is doing and how it is doing it, and how it really affects the people, particularly the youth of this country, I know you have a responsibility perhaps to the youth who are in the All Progressives Congress, but again, you also hold a responsibility to the Nigerian youths because, yes, they say you're also in that corridor of where they say the power is. How do we begin to drive these ideas down to the level where it really matters? Because you were in Abuja, or perhaps you're still in Abuja, you met with the Vice President, a lot of conversation held. How do we begin to now scale all of this together to say, look, perhaps things have not materialized as they should, but this is what is in the pipeline?
Yes, we coming to Abuja, all the zonal leaders, of your Progressive Congress, and the National Leader of all Progressive Congress. We reach out to we have said the Vice President, we discuss extensively with critical ministers. And I say, yes, beyond regional now, out of this, the programs and activities of government cascade to the unit level. And for instance, one we met with the Minister for Agriculture, they told us a whole lot of things that is being done in their ministry. That creating from in Nigeria we are normally a seasonal farmer in this country, and telling us how we are introducing education across the 30 states of the Federation and FCT. So that our food security can be guaranteed and can be assured. So I need to discuss with him on how we are going to take those programs to the world. And he now said that those programs are already at the state level, but we now said no, beyond being at the state level, we want this program to get to every work, to every polling unit, to every unit of the schools, all the norms and grading. They need to have a politician know that we want it to, so that an ordinary man in the country can see what the government is doing. And he has assured us, and we have for instance, we have put in a place young farmers, the Progressive Young Farmers Network, so that to reach out to the young people, irrespective of your political affiliation, to make sure that, because this is our government, and the government is trying its best to make sure that it puts smile in the faces of the common Nigeria. So in view of the focus of the government must be seen at the corner and the street of all the 30 states of the Federation. So it is not limited to that. Even we saw the Minister of Communication and Innovation, and we discussed extensively. Yes, they told us about the program that they have ranging from youth in ICT, 3NMT, and so, and they have equally assured us to partner the young people from the streets in the country must have found ourselves. So I believe in this country. I believe that in my lifetime, Nigeria will be great.
All right, and that brings me to the question too, because you represent the Southwest as the APC youth leader. How much of these demands are you also making for this region? Because when they find we have a president who's from the Southwest, but regardless of that, how much of this intervention do you want to see in the Southwest? How much of this intervention, how well do you think they should materialize in the Southwest? How strategic are you pushing for some of these things to come also down to the Southwest?
Yes, we have done a whole lot in that area, but we are restricted to a certain extent. For instance, we have opposition party in a state like Osrc and Oyo, and so those states, yes, we have our members there. We are reaching out despite the fact that we have party differences, but we are still reaching out to leaders who is in those communities to make sure that our people beyond party affiliations now. We are all Nigerians before finding ourselves in APC or other political parties. Also, and I'm sure that I think our mentalities, our thinking must be in that direction. So we are trying our best. We are engaging government. We are engaging people that matters. We are engaging captain of industries to make sure that our young people, it won't APC young people now, to make sure that the young people in the Southwest region are, to make sure that they have opportunity, to display and exhibit whatever potential they have got. And it is, it's a continuous thing. And it is, for instance, now, let me take you about 2003, 2007, that we can see the level of violence. But for instance, one of those we are pushing an electionary period by November this year. I can bet it with you that people will not even know that we are in an election period because everybody is going about their normal business without violence as we used to witness in the previous year. So things like this are the sort of our commitment, our engagement with the young people to see how they can make the best use of their talent they have gotten, the best use of their exposure they have gotten to better the laws of this country. And we will not rest on our oars until we make sure that those lofty ideas, those lofty exposure that they have gotten to take our economy to the best and competitive economy of the world, until those things are achieved, we are not going to rest.
Mr. Kolade, do you think, in your opinion and observation, having been in the political terrain for a while, do you think the best of Nigerian youths get to make it to the corridor of power to make some of these critical decisions that could eventually change the narrative for the youths? Do you think the best of us even make it to that level?
Yes. So in the extent, some states in the country, like Ondo, Kwara, Kebbi, and what that is, are making use of their young people, and you can see the level of development.
I'm not saying about young people. I mean, having the best brains. Part of the concern in this part of the world is the leadership recruitment process. Some say Nigeria is nowhere in that light when you talk about really building leaders who will eventually change the narrative. All we have is a few guys or a few young persons who come together, who form loyalists, who raise their hands, and before you think about it, they're already holding one position or the other. That's why I'm asking, do you think the best of the youths get to make it to power?
Let me tell you, it is beyond what you have said. It has metamorphosed to higher things. We as a youth leader of the ruling party, we have been reaching out to all youths that are doing where they are chosen careers, come and be part of. We are not even talking to them to come and join our political party. We are talking to them that if you join a political party, I'm thinking, driving the agendas of this political party. So that when those traits come together across zones, we have to get Nigeria out of our dream. So it's the view of this. We are reaching out to younger people in various fields of life that are doing well to come and be part of the political party, so that we cannot just sit at the comfort of our zone, at the comfort of our room, and be saying we are aspiring and agitating for a better Nigeria. Yes, the eggheads must come together. The eggheads, we are identifying them. Even and abroad overseas to come back home and part of leadership so that we can take Nigeria to the greatest height.
All right, so just this month, Ondo State paid host to the Southwest National Youth Council. What are the impacts, as a result of these engagements that the public should look out for, in the youth of the state?
The impact that I think I have touched numerous achievements of young people when we started this program, and you can see in all those days, for instance, our SDI used to be 700 million per annum. But today, we are pushing almost 4 billion. So and that is huge in any part of the world. That is huge. It's like a magic. And it's also this young people. So the young people, they have demonstrated that capacity across the our legislative arm. The young people, they are no wonder. They are doing very well and we are proud of them. So what we just need to support these young people is to give them opportunities, across board, even in private worlds. Yes, they have gotten the whatever experience that is needed. However, we are not saying that our leaders, should go back home and rest. No, but we must be partner in progress to actualize the Nigeria battery.
For you to be partner in progress, so the leaders, the place of accountability also comes to the fore. And when you look at the theme for this year, it says from cliques to progress, youth pathway for sustainable development. But when you look at the digital space, particularly the social media space, is where perhaps some youth feel they can hold government accountable. In the past, some say it has worked, others say it has not worked. But for you, when we talk about all of this partnership, how going forward, for all of the initiatives you've mentioned, how best do you think the young persons, the ordinary ones on the streets, can hold their government accountable?
Yes, thank you. I want to sincerely appreciate praise that have come together to put social media in this. Before 1999, we were saying through the new commission on the pages of this stuff, and there are those crickets have not been